Look, you're having a successful career in the big leagues, and then injury struck.
Yep, yeah, we I had a really good start to that 2001 season off the back of getting caught up in September, and started off 6 wins, 1 loss in the big leagues, and was getting touted about being the possible Rookie of the Year in the National League, and I threw 8 2/3 innings against Houston, almost got a shutout, come out with 1 out to go. And in the 6th inning of that game, I pulled a couple of intercostal muscles in my left side, and I tried to pitch through it, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the season. And one big lesson I learnt from that was if you've got any kind of injury, you need to get it treated. Even though I felt that I was in a position where I needed to keep battling to try and secure that spot. Although at the time it's easy to say, but I probably had already done that. But tried to throw through it, and really struggled for the next couple of weeks. And then coming into the 2001 season, I got traded to Toronto for Paul Control and Caesar Etstouris. And really from the first pitch in spring training the next year, really I had a lot of elbow injuries. And basically, long story short, I had a complete tear of my labrum, which I only found out about 2/3 way through the season. So pitching against the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees every 5th day was it's kind of tough when you don't have a labrum there and you can't feel your release point in that. And when you're in that probably the toughest division in Major League Baseball, when you miss your spot by 2 or 3 inches, it's the difference between a good pitch and a bad pitch. And we picked up too late, and the injury that I had in my elbow was basically a manifestation of the injury that I had in my shoulder, but just wasn't picked up on. And by the time we had picked it up, it was a complete tear. And basically, at the end of my career, in a nutshell, I had it operated on once. I was released by the Blue Jays. They tried to re-sign me. I went back to Los Angeles and then got picked up in the Rule 5 Major League portion of the Rule 5 draft, and so that means I got picked up by Cincinnati Reds, ended up in the Major League on the Major League roster rehabbing, and with a plan to come back just after the All-Star break. And I was 2 weeks away from going on my rehab stint back to AAA in Louisville, and my whole shoulder popped out, just warming up, ready to go in to throw a bullpen. So it was pretty tough. The next year I took an entire year off, so it gave me more than a year to try and get it rehabbed and right, and then came back in 2005 and basically spent 4 months chasing my toe. You get up on the mound and you throw a couple, you get impingement and you get instant inflammation, and it take 7 or 8 days to get the inflammation down. You go back to your long toss program and finally get on the mound, and just repetitious stuff for a couple of months. And worst part of it was me that had to call the meeting to say, look, this isn't working. It's most likely would have needed a 3rd surgery, and having a 3rd surgery, the same as the first 2 that I had. By the age that I am now, 36, I probably wouldn't be able to use my arm at all. So I cut my losses, and I can do most things. I can still throw pretty good BP, and I can throw to my kids, and I can still be a slight part of the game. So it's But
now, sorry, that's just staggering. I mean, the injuries can cut a lifelong dream. You've worked so hard for 15 years or whatever it was to get there, 12 years to get there, and then how does that come with the mental side of it? You know, just it's got to be crushing.
Yeah, it's tough. It's when you rehab after that first surgery, you rehab 6 out of 7 days, and you're doing 3 or 4 hours of work every day. You add that up over the course of 10 or 12 months. It's there's a lot of work that goes into trying to get back up on that mound, and having the rug pulled out from underneath you is pretty tough. But I think that's the big difference between major leaguers and minor leaguers. Major leaguers, they have a rough game, they have a rough day in the rehab facility. They go home, they get over it, and they start the next day with the same plan. Just because you had 3 bad at bats at the start of a ball game doesn't mean your 4th bat's going to be the same. It's just the difference between those big leagues and the minor leagues, are the guys that can separate their at bats, their days, their starts, their relief appearances, and they come back and they start afresh with a 0-0 ERA the next day.
And since that, you've then moved into some off-field roles. You're into a coaching thing with the Australian under-21 side over here in Taichung, and you're also scouting. Do you find the on-field role, the off-field role of scouting more enjoyable?
But they've both got their enjoyable parts of it. Definitely growing up from the, being a 6-year-old playing T-ball and playing, and that's why we're all a part of the game, and that's what we love about it. And if scouting helps me find some young kid that deserves a shot to get to the big leagues, then hey, fantastic! I'm glad I can be a part of doing that. It's not about necessarily recruiting for one particular club, but giving a kid a chance to have that opportunity to try and get to the big leagues like I did. I think that's pretty important, but definitely being on the field is a passion of mine, and helping these guys to learn and to better understand what it takes to become that major leaguer, not to be a career minor leaguer. That's really important to me, and I find that very enjoyable getting to come on this trip for the first time with an Australian team in 20 years. The last time I put the Aussie uniform on was under 16s in Londrina in Brazil, and very special. And I've been hanging out to get on this trip for a long time, but being here with these young blokes, those guys in long season A ball, short season A, rookie ball, extended. So those guys are in a big learning situation right now, and if we can do something, we've got big league guys here, myself and Willow, and we got Ship here, and John Deeble. We've all had taste of being in the big leagues and knowing what it takes, and if we can pass on some of that, that's a huge benefit to these kids, and something that I see as being very important.
And it's fantastic that you say that, and the guys I've interviewed have so much passion for Australia, and it's obviously you have that too. So thanks so much, wish you every success, and let's hope the kids win a few more for us this trip.
Thank you.